Will the secretary please call the meeting to order?
I'd love to. Chairperson Doherty,
Here.
Mr. Conway,
Yeah.
Ms. Delrossi,
Here.
three present.
Thank you, and we are here for the Policy and Governance Subcommittee. And we have on our agenda tonight to review and discuss LPS policies and possible updates with a focus on policies. Section A, foundations and basic commitments. And joining us is Alicia from the Mass Association of School Committees. Would you like to lead us through?
Sure. So the questions we left off in section A with were, we were going to have you all go back to your district legal counsel and have them review the updated Title IX policies. So that's where we're gonna start. Have you heard from your district legal counsel about your Title IX policies yet?
I don't believe we have.
Okay. So you have ADC as one of the first ones, so we'll start there.
And we had 5 that we didn't get to at the end of last week.
Yes, okay. So that's okay. We don't need the feedback from the lawyer just yet. We'll finish the 5 and then we'll go back.
Okay.
So, starting with, as I scroll and make the people playing at home a little nauseated, sorry about that. I will get you that in one
Get
second.
me on the keyword.
I'm scrolling, forever scrolling. Almost there.
You should tell me if everybody has one.
Okay, so ADC, we are on page 32. In my copy, it's 32, so it should be 32 in yours as well. We're looking for the smoking on school premises policy.
The pages aren't
Aren't
numbered.
numbered.
Yeah, I get them.
It's in the header. Did the header get cut off?
Yeah, I don't think the header.
At the
Are you
right?
Mine's not numbered.
Oh,
Oh,
got the lucky batch.
The header's getting cut
No,
off when you
yeah.
print it. That's so weird.
oh, you brought the old one, that's why.
Very smart.
So far ahead of the rest of us.
Okay, well, you're about
Sarcasm.
No, I'm.
3/4 of the way down. You're looking for file ADC, smoking on school premises. That is so weird that the header didn't translate.
Smoking about ADC and it's about. So if you see ACE, you know, you gotta keep it going.
Yes,
Cause they're alphabetical.
So 32 says what now?
page 32,
Yeah,
it's file ADC, smoking on school premises.
Yeah,
And we're
here's
broadcasting
the
it up on the board too as well.
Here's down the line now.
Oh, you're still on the line, that's an old version, but if we look on the board, it's right there. You don't necessarily need the hard copy. Because we have it up on the screen and I have. found it.
Imagine glory from
It looks like this, baby. ADC.
that's what happens when you follow the rules. Right? They change it.
Try to save paper, but we're.
So we're going over AC, we already did those, ADC.
No, we're starting where we left
No,
off,
you're not.
right?
So it appears that there's a couple that we need to just confirm in section A, so we're gonna do that right now.
Okay,
ADC, smoking on school premises. This is out of date and we would recommend removal and replacement with the MASC updated policy. Our policy, and I will scroll, see it was updated in 2022. This policy was updated a little bit after vaping became very popular. We've removed language from the old policies that would say things like, it was like electronic means of something. Electronic means of vaporization or aerosolization. We've included the including but not limited to list. So vaping is in there. This is also expanded so that it's tobacco products on school premises prohibited. And that extends to all staff, all students, all visitors, and it also requires the signage to be posted in all buildings. So,
Is that within certain feet of the school too?
there is a statute about the outside of the school, but I'm not entirely sure what that is. I know that you're required to have the signage inside the school, but not necessarily on the outside. I think that would be something for the city to do.
So in other words, the kids could walk out the door and start smoking.
Well, no, if it's school premises, so when you think about where the school property line ends, all the way up to the school property line, you can't be smoking or using tobacco products of any kind. So if you were out on the sidewalk and it's public city sidewalk, that's a different story, but on the school premises, as far as it extends,
So they could smoke on the side,
if it belongs to the city, yes.
So the sidewalk in front of the school?
Meaning up
Side,
against the
yeah.
building?
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
No, because if you have a parking lot beyond that, it would depend on the building. Let's say that, it would depend on the building, because if there's a sidewalk in front of the building and then a parking lot and then the city sidewalk, they would not be able to smoke on that first sidewalk or in the parking lot.
Well, Lucy Lock,
I don't think she knows that area.
I know, but I'm just asking.
Right, so we
But
have,
it's up against the school.
But
Yeah.
Lucy Lock
Where
is
the-
city,
right, but it is, it,
it's city.
so
I'm
we
just
have a
saying,
walkway right, goes right along the school building.
Yep.
And it's
Between
on the
the two.
canal, between two buildings, and there's a canal between them. I mean, I wouldn't want
We
kids
always
out there
have-
smoking.
We never allowed it. We never.
So do we need to add language that says you're not allowed to?
So what I would say is we would need to check the city ordinances. And I know in the state of Massachusetts, there is an ordinance, and I would need to look up exactly what it was and exactly what it said. But there is an ordinance about smoking in public in Massachusetts, near public buildings. I would need to see what that was.
See, it's a
So.
unique
Yes.
setting where you
That
have
is a very unique
a
setting.
piece of, a strip that's in there from
A
the
good
city.
sized strip. In
good
between the
size,
buildings.
And we always nail them from there.
Right, and we also have parking, our parking lot
Yes,
is across the street. I mean, we're an urban
yes.
high school,
yes.
many buildings.
Mhm.
So do you think that we should, wait for more information from you or get this to the law department with the other information?
I would say send it to your legal department, because they would know your city charter best.
So you're sending this to legal too?
And we
Is
may
there
be
a
fine.
note, a special note on that too?
That we want to bake,
Because we might have a city solicitor doesn't know anything about that strip.
well, they can look it up.
I don't know, okay, I'm not sure where you look it up, but.
Well, I think we have to look at what the city ordinance says
Right, about
And then-
public property.
and where does our jurisdiction end?
Mhm,
So that can we,
Exactly.
Yeah, because isn't Lucy Lock going like part of the national park too?
Correct.
oh,
Well, that means if it's a national park, there's no smoking allowed
Oh,
anyway.
there you go, got our answer.
well, that's good to know.
Yep.
See, doesn't have. to.
There's always like nope, that one covers that. So if it's a national park, a designated national park, there's no smoking.
Okay.
We put them in. We didn't doubt.
Do we have signage? I don't think there is signage, but it would, it would.
It says
That's
no
one
sign.
thing that city solicitors have always said in the past, and that
Mhm.
is, you have to get signage to cover you. Because then everything gets a little murky and
The kids always smoke at Lucy like around the river. Oh,
that's true.
But-
Until they get caught.
until they have caught.
Until, right, as long as,
Fine, I think.
but we
Probably.
can't
I'd be
have
looking right out
quality,
the window, go get it.
The
we can't have,
climate was probably at the.
Right.
Funny
rein
is.
it back, we can't have a policy that's not enforceable. So I think at this point, we're looking to get some guidance from the law department.
So this does cover your buildings themselves. It would be those extenuating circumstances. I would think you would need to just be sure about city property
Okay,
extending beyond.
so we'll just keep moving forward then.
Okay.
But this is going over. Going
Okay. So our next policy is file ADDA. It's right after those, the quarry requirements. This is definitely out of date and we do recommend the MASC policy for this. And as I scroll through this massive policy, our policy is now the background checks policy. And it does cover not just the quarry, but it also covers the cherry background check. So we would recommend our version of this.
Okay. And we're gonna take a motion at the end, right? So unless you have any questions about the section we're on, we're just gonna keep moving through it.
Miles.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna go many pages beyond. And then the next one is the dash R that goes with that policy. This is the DCJIS model Corey policy, and this is the regulation that goes with the Corey model policy. And we would also recommend this as well. And I am a goof who did not put in here what DCJIS actually means.
Is it still part of this file? The AAO?
Yeah, you just keep turning the pages and in the corner it says ADDA-R.
It looks like
And
that.
she's got it up there.
Okay.
So we're just going in order now, once you found the space.
Sorry about that.
So what did you not include?
Usually I put after, our model policy just has the letters for DCJIS.
Oh, just what that stands for.
Yes, I believe it's the Department of Criminal Justice Information Systems, but I will add that to the file as well.
Okay,
Because sometimes people look at it and they're like, what does that alphabet soup mean?
okay. Any questions about this section?
What is this? Explain again. I'm sorry.
So this is the regulation that goes with the model Corey policy. This is one of those policies that we recommend because it's required by the state. You have to have these background checks, the Corey and the Cherry
And the
background checks.
fingerprinting,
Yes.
yes, and then does the district usually what, reimburse for that, for the employees?
Yeah.
That pay it?
I would think that would be part of either the employee handbook or collective bargaining. I wouldn't think that would be part of the,
Okay,
Policy.
maybe they just cover it. I know.
they might, yeah, they might just cover it as part of employment.
That's a one-shot deal, is that correct?
Fingerprinting is, yes, Corey needs to be done
Every year.
repeatedly.
Are you asking who pays for it?
Yeah, I mean, I know every district is different. I think in how they do
I mean,
it.
we could make a note, but in the event that the employee has to pay themselves, is it an issue or did you just want?
I
to know
think
the
it's covered in a
information?
different area.
Yeah.
We paid when we had it, we had to pay,
Really?
yeah.
You
I had to
had,
pay
you
I
had
had
to
to pay.
pay.
when I worked for a nonprofit.
I guess I'm unclear on that. Maybe if you
Right.
can figure it,
I
or,
didn't think we had to pay.
Yeah, we had to pay.
and here, and also what if employees pay for it and then something
get the
happens and
job.
they don't get hired? And is there a policy for that as well?
So I wouldn't think that would be a policy. That would definitely something that was employee handbook about reimbursements and or something in the collective bargaining agreement.
Right.
Because it is a condition of employment, much like having a physical, et cetera. And I would say that would be the collective bargaining agreement would be the first place to look for that, to see if it was something that was covered as a benefit.
Yeah, just the fingerprinting. I remember. we never
Right,
had to
because Corey doesn't cost the employee anything.
go back.
It's been years since I got my fingerprinting, but yes. Okay, so the next one on our list is the ADF, the School District Wellness Program. This is a new policy for you. This is MASC only. As part of one of the updates that came forward with the wellness frameworks from the state, this is the model policy that came along with that. It enumerates that the district is required to have a wellness committee, and don't panic because most districts are still trying to put those together, mine included. So it's a relatively new policy, but this is required. These things are required by law, so we would recommend the MASC version of this. Do you guys have a wellness committee already?
Yes, we did. I used to serve on it, but I have no idea what happened to it because I haven't been on it in a while.
Okay.
That was a couple of administrations ago.
Okay, so what I would say about this one is we should find out if you do currently have one. And if you don't, the name of the coordinator will have to come back and put the name of the coordinator in when it gets formed. You will have to, and then let us know. if you do have one, this is one of those places where we tell you all the time, don't put the person, put the title.
Right,
But this one requires the person. So we need to make sure we get, if there's an existing wellness coordinator, we need to make sure we get their name in there.
okay, so let's make a note for file ADF that we'll follow up with the administration. On whether we
Yeah,
have
but that
some.
fall under.
But I know I used to go to these meetings.
So the wellness committee is formed by the district and it's usually under the purview of, say, the head nurse or, there, in my district, it's the principal because we're a 8-member town. So we have the principal is is in charge of the wellness committee, and then the head nurse is the coordinator, and then they have staff members that are on it, and I'm the parent and school committee member. So it's not a school committee subcommittee. It's a committee of the district.
But, so I guess, should every school have one in Lowell or?
No, you just need a
One
district.
One district-wide,
District
and then you
wellness
have a
committee.
school committee person who sits on as a representative of the school committee. And that was the role I played years ago. I believe it was headed by Janine Durkin, who might have been
It
the
was.
assistant superintendent of student services at the time.
Correct.
And we would meet regularly, and I thought it was a very.
There was a whole committee.
Right, so let's find out where we stand with that, because we're gonna, we need to do this anyway, and if we lost track of having it, we need to bring it back. Okay,
Okay. And then we do have one last policy at the end here. This is the commitment to accomplishment. I don't have notes on whether or not we talked about this, but we can certainly talk about it again. This is one of those aspirational policies. You want it to reflect Lowell's specific mission and vision. If you're currently doing a strategic planning process or a goal setting, we would say hold this, retain your version, and then come back and update it when you're done with your strategic plan. So where are you in your strategic plan?
Well, I know a lot of it is, I'm sorry, okay, we're being questioned a lot of what it's going to look like now that MCAS is not a requirement, right? And
Yeah.
so how is the district going to hold our students accountable,
Right.
right? And so would that be a way to like kind of,
So this is more of a high level commitment to accomplishment.
and
This
that's
is-
just one piece.
Yeah, that's just one piece of the accomplishment that you would be.
But we have a whole plan,
Okay, so
that's one piece that we're looking at, right?
Yeah, and so our plan,
we died?
well, we're still on the Zoom, so. Oh, no.
so our current,
Okay, the
our
city
current
plan.
plan is expiring. The
Okay,
new plan would be ready in the next, I want to say month or two.
okay, so what I'm gonna recommend, the MASC version is very similar to your version. Don't change this now, stay with the Lowell version of this, and I will change that in the document, so when I send you back a new document with notes, I will change that. Don't change it now. When the strategic plan is done, go back and look at your, like a commitment to accomplishment policies. Sometimes you'll relook at your academic freedom policies, things like that, just to make sure they align with your new strategic plan. So for right now, keep your Lowell version of this. Yes, we are still on Zoom. I can see us.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're still being televised to the public.
That's one, yeah. that's
Oh.
what I-
Oh,
LTC is still in it.
yep.
But let me
Maybe
see
it's
if I
just
can-
downtown.
I wonder if you can refresh the screen, and if she's still getting it. Is the owl out?
No, because the owl's picking all of us up. I can see it. On my screen, I can see the Zoom.
I didn't realize that was the owl.
It's on this committee, it's on this computer. It's not
So
the
maybe
screen.
we're just not broadcasting to the one in the room anymore.
Let me see if I'm on the LTC.
Hey, there, anything.
But I don't even know what would be.
Because I can remember we did Zoom. The lights went out.
City council's on anyway.
So this is being.
Yeah, but it
recorded.
still has to be
Oh.
played.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna come back up, but it is on the computer screen.
So weird. Wonder why it's not in the room. Okay. Well, we can just hold for a minute.
You wanna pause?
Yes. To make sure we're
Not wasting breath.
true to open meeting law.
Yeah, that's what happened. My lights wasn't. And I got a call. He said, we have to.
So when we're done with both of these sections, what I'm gonna send you is this edited version, but with the edits we've made along the way and a clean copy of it. So for
The
both
screen
A
went
and
dark.
and then,
We're just timed out, I guess.
that was weird. They all.
It always signs out for some reason.
All right,
All right.
I don't know why I should say it.
so we're gonna hold file AE until we get our new strategic plan.
Yep.
Which is in process, and then we'll be adding that part that talks about commitment to accomplishment.
Yes,
Here,
you will revisit the commitment to accomplishment to better reflect your current strategic plan. Because it's an absolutely appropriate commitment to accomplishment as it stands now, but if there's any edits you want to make down the road, that would be the time to do it. It's better to not try to edit it now when it may not align later, do it once.
yeah, got it.
So that's the end of section A. I know we have a couple that you want to refer to legal counsel for feedback on. So what you can do is you can vote it out of subcommittee to the full committee after review by legal counsel.
Right. So at our previous meetings, we had already designated the ones we were sending to legal counsel.
Okay,
Tonight, we've added an additional one
yes,
from this group, which was about the smoking. The, I forget what you call the title, it's not about smoking.
tobacco use on premises.
Right. So we don't need to refer back to the ones we've already referred, we just need to make
No,
a
you just
motion.
send the additional one, yes.
So I'm looking for, you wanna help with the wording or?
Sure.
a motion?
But the question is, do you want it after legal counsel looks at it? Do you want it to come back to the subcommittee?
No,
You want it to go
once
to
we
the
get
full
it to
committee?
legal counsel,
Okay.
I think we can talk to it, speak to it with the whole committee.
Yes.
I think-
Yeah,
We don't need to sit
Absolutely.
here, again, that's just
Okay.
delay.
perfection. So you're going to make a motion to send section A to the full committee for a first read after review by legal counsel.
But,
Be it all our meeting.
yeah, but you're not, that doesn't specify what parts of section A, because we're not sending the whole of section A.
No, do you want to list them?
I
List
think what
ones.
you're saying here. It's gonna go to them as a whole after after.
I know
after
that.
A lot of comments,
Wait,
review,
But she's not saying which ones the law department's gonna, I understand what she's saying.
but the whole thing's gonna be voted on.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
read together.
Right.
So let's look at
But let's
the,
look at let's know what we're sending to the law.
Domestic violence.
I understand the whole thing
Yeah,
is
but I
gonna,
don't think that this is gonna be something. that-
So it
the way I
was-
understand, we're not, gonna have this next meeting.
no,
Once the law department comes back, then this is saying we're gonna bring section A forward for
Right.
review.
Right.
So we'll be in its
Right.
entirety, that's how I understand.
okay, so you don't think we need to say what sections that we're
If
waiting?
I'm understanding it correct.
As long as the
Alicia,
law department
are
knows
we-
exactly what we're waiting
Right, so
for.
are we saying that we're not sending this to the school committee necessarily next meeting?
no,
No, this is gonna be, when we get the information back from the school, from the law department, then we'll be bringing it all to them.
yes,
I understand
yes.
that.
And the
My issue is to
policies-
be clear which ones are going to the law department.
Okay,
That's my
so
issue.
what I will say is then insert into the motion after legal review of the following policies.
Thank you.
AC. AC-R. That hurt to say. ACA. ACAB. And ADC.
ADC,
Yep. And then the domestic violence policy was in section G, so that's not this section, so.
I just want to make sure we have,
Yep.
we're tracking what we're waiting for.
Mhm.
We are the committee that sent something to the law department. We got an answer 2.5 years later. So I'm very aware of trying to keep a track of what we said. really, 2.5 years, crazy, right?
You want to do a motion?
Yeah, so that motion that we just mentioned
Yes.
by Mr. Rossi, seconded by Mr. Conway, all those in favor?
Mr. Sheehan?
Actually, we have to do a roll call on whenever on.
Okay,
So Chairperson Doherty?
yes,
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
3 yes.
No, because that will go to the informed wellness committee. Okay,
so. Next,
yep, next up is section B. Oh, right, the unaffiliated first, so I don't actually have that one. I don't think. I'll just share for a second.
That's.
Oh, yeah, that's
That's
the, we already
from
talked
the
about
HR
that.
section.
Okay. So what are we doing reviewing this tonight? Are you just sending it to the full committee?
So when we approved, when you all reviewed the HR policies, there were pieces that impacted the unaffiliated staff
Mhm.
that we agreed to pull out and put
Right.
into its own policy. So these pieces were pulled out
Mhm.
and put into this policy. This would be a brand new policy that has collected the pieces that were removed from.
Okay,
other-
right, now I remember that. Okay. So, and I do remember that was sent to me for review and, I thought it was an appropriate policy. I don't see anything else that would need to be added or subtracted from it. So it's up to the subcommittee whether or not they're ready to send it to the full committee.
so is that here in front of us?
It should be in your packet.
Where is that?
Unaffiliated.
Yeah. It needs a number.
It's the
though.
one single sheet. It
Oh, it's a
will, yeah,
one single sheet,
it will
Got it.
need a letter.
Yeah. it needs a
And
letter.
so what I will recommend is that you send it to your committee for a full, when you send it to your committee for the first full read, for full. Try that again,
first,
for
read.
the first read for the first time. I will send it to Anne Marie in our office, who goes through the NEP encoding and figures out the right things to tag it with. Because there's this whole process for how you tag with NEP encoding, and Anne Marie will tell me what it should be. So that when you go to do final approval, adding the NEP encoding is actually just, it's a housekeeping move. You don't have to do extra readings for it. You can literally just put it on at the very end.
Okay. Is there a way to get that number before we go to the school committee with the first reading?
When's your next meeting?
Well, you're saying we're not
Well,
gonna do it
Again, no, the next meeting is, everything
Wednesday,
has to be in on Friday.
right?
At
So
like
we
10
won't
o'clock.
be doing
Yeah.
it next week. It's
No.
gonna be a couple of weeks.
Yep, then I can have that, yep. I can
So
have
if you
that
just
letter.
provide Ms. Phillips with the coding when we get, so then we can vote on it, not the
And I
next
already
meeting, but
have
the one
that.
after that.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so what do we need to look at?
So
This
that's
is a
Anne Marie.
draft for the unaffiliated staff. The rates of pay for personnel not covered by collective bargaining will be set by the school committee with the advice of the superintendent. Salaries and compensation plans for all categories of staff will be reviewed annually prior to July 1. Responsibility of the superintendent to present evidence to the school committee to support recommendations for salary increases. The school committee will strive to have compensation benefits granted to school department employees compatible with those offered to employees of other city departments.
So what we go through usually every 3 years.
This says it's gonna be reviewed annually.
Unaffiliated, okay, sorry.
So I guess so we're striving to be compatible with the city departments. It doesn't mention the employees who are in collective bargaining agreements. We're not trying to be compatible with that.
I feel like every 3 years we are. Right? Because we go through the different districts. Right, but like, don't we usually do an analysis? Like, last time we had like an analysis of like what all the different schools, but maybe that was part of the Abrams report, one of the reports that we got.
Analysis of,
I think that
Like,
was a wage
different
study.
school districts and
Well, we did the wage study.
Yeah.
The wage
Philip's
study,
mentioned,
and maybe that's
but
what,
we don't, I mean, this is talking about annual reviews
but.
of salaries
For
for
unaffiliated,
unaffiliated. So
for like the assistant superintendents.
there's a lot of people who are
who
not
unaffiliated.
necessarily in high administrative roles who are unaffiliated.
Right, yeah.
So they're not under the collective bargaining agreement. I just think the part that we're trying to be compatible with city departments, and it doesn't say anything about our other school personnel, is a little strange to me.
I agree. I agree.
I'm not that I'm against being compatible with city departments,
I
but,
know, but it should be,
you
it should
know,
be closer to the school.
right,
side,
so
yes.
I mean, I don't know, where is the red language here? Who is suggesting this language?
So that Dr. Hall reviewed this. The black language is from the prior policies. So that was stricken.
Yes.
Stricken from the prior policy and put here if it's black letter.
Right.
The red is to help it flow better. And so in the absence of this policy, you are not reviewing categories of unaffiliated staff.
Right.
That's HR, finance, payroll, family liaisons. I think those are probably the main groups that are unaffiliated. Mhm.
Right. And I want to just point out that in number 5, it says that partial payment of tuition for approved courses not to exceed reimbursement beyond that authorized by collective bargaining agreements. So we are referencing the collective bargaining agreements under the section called professional staff development opportunities. And I don't know, does MASC have anything like this or recommendations if you know, a separate policy for your unaffiliated?
Oh, no,
staff?
that was me. I did that. Thank you. Yeah.
That you could, I mean, do you have any
We do
thoughts
not
on
have
this?
policies on unaffiliated staff. We have policies on professional staff that are on their own individual contracts. So principals, assistant principals, curriculum coordinators, things like that. But those are grouped under professional staff. They're not grouped under unaffiliated. So
But
this
they
would
are
be-
all unaffiliated.
Yes, so this would be new, but I would say if this came out of, you know, if your HR department has gone through this and thinks it's appropriate, it is something that if it's unique to Lowell, that's how you would put them together, that's what you should do.
Assistant principals aren't.
No,
No,
the principal.
principals, yeah.
She said. principal.
Yeah, in some districts,
I thought you said assistant.
all of the administrative staff in a building is in a unit, or in some districts, some of them are in a unit and some of them aren't. There's more units being added.
Assistants are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so your thoughts on this? Do you want to do anything with offer to employees of other city departments? Or do you want to just leave it exactly the way it is? I'm open to whatever you guys want.
I mean, I think it makes sense, like, I just think of the facilities department, right? Like, you have a director of facilities at the city side, the director of facilities on this side, and how they work together a lot regardless. So, is it equal, like, is it equitable?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I think this goes both ways.
I mean, I'm not even saying it has to be that we take out, it has to be compatible with those offered to employees of other city departments. You could say, and our collective, bargaining agreements with staff. Just add an and,
All right, yeah. I think.
but I don't feel like hugely strongly about it, so if you don't, what do you wanna do?
I'm not sure of the benefit one way or another right now. I mean, it might be, we're making a decision right now that could have some
Well, we have
ramifications down the road here.
right, well, we're going to the first reading, so why don't we just leave it as it is, and we can talk about it with the whole committee.
And I
All
can
right,
bring
I
this
think
back to HR and
Say, is there a reason to do this or not do
Right.
this? Okay. All right, so I would accept a motion by Mr. Rossi, seconded by Mr. Conway, to bring this before the full committee for a first reading.
Right.
Roll call.
Chairperson Doherty?
Yes.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
3
Okay.
And for everyone to be ready with what they're ready for. Okay, so next up is section B. If I remember correctly, had we started section B? I didn't think so. Okay. I have multiple policy projects running right now and I just wanted to be sure. So, I actually sent a committee, draft of their section and it was Somerville and I left Lowell in instead of Somerville and that. They were like, yeah, so, okay, so section B, this is all about school board governance and operations. This is, mostly what your job is and how your job is carried out as the school committee itself. So we will start, it's actually a fairly long section too. So we're gonna start with school committee operational goals. This is Lowell with some MASC updates. This is definitely one of those aspirational policies. You want it to have the flavor of the city of Lowell and the Lowell Public Schools. We've done a couple of edits here. We've done some grammatical updates. We've also included SMART goals instead of simple goals, because that is the standard now.
Mhm.
There is an example beyond it of what our goal, what our policy looks like, but it is absolutely appropriate and I would recommend retaining the Lowell version of this. Any questions?
So you've got file BA is all read and knocked out, so that's,
That's the MASC version. We always include our version, even if we're recommending you keep yours in case there's something you would want to pull over.
so what you're recommending we keep is the BA that's not all in red.
Correct, the
Lowell.
Lowell version.
Draft note Lowell with MASC
Yep.
updates. Okay, good. Any questions about this? So we'll keep going through B and we'll get
Okay.
through as many as we can get through and then we'll do motions. Okay?
Fantastic. So BAA, evaluation of school committee operational procedures, policies match, no action required.
Great.
Yours and ours are identical.
Every once in a while we get that.
BB, school committee legal status. The updates we have here are grammatical. Except for we also included additional cross references. I don't know why that happened like that. On that way. And we cross-referenced the school district legal status from section A and the school committee powers and duties policy, and we'll get there shortly. So beyond that, it is your policy with our updates.
Got it. All right.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty? I had made a note on evaluation of school committee operational procedures because it's a process for the school committee to evaluate itself, but it's not clear, like on what cycle.
So that's something for school committees to determine themselves. I happen to recommend, as a field director, that you align your evaluation process to the superintendent evaluation process. It's already there, you're already doing it. Whether or not you set school committee goals or whether or not it's just a check-in, you can do that formative check-in when you do the formative check-in with the superintendent. Are we, staying true to our operational policies? Are we staying, is there something we need to catch up on? Is there, if you weren't already doing a policy project, are there policies we need to review? So I would align it, my personal recommendation for best practice is to align it with your superintendent evaluation, but every committee decides how to do that differently.
Should we go on a retreat together? And
Someplace
reflect?
warm.
So actually, one of the best ways to figure out like operating protocols and school committee goals is to do something over the summer. And reset and adopt operating protocols and, goals and things like that.
Is there a line item in the budget for that?
No.
We're gonna go on that walkway you just told me about near the river. Okay,
So what do
So-
we need to do at this point? What do you think?
So it's for the committee to decide, and it's for the committee to decide, according to what you feel like you need. I would say if we're currently working on your policy project and you have your strategic plan coming up, I would say at the end of this year, stop and have a discussion, make it an agenda item. Talk about how you want to move forward on setting your own goals and evaluating yourselves, and then set the schedule from there. You don't have to do it right now. You're doing a lot of work right now. Do it after we finish this.
Okay, so can we make a note?
Yes, it's always better to do it after the election as well.
So that would be a note for BBA,
Mhm.
that we will be determining.
BAA,
BAA,
yeah, because we went back one.
oh.
So BB was just Lowell with the MASC updates. We've added the two cross references at the bottom. There's no other changes. And that's the struck one after it is just our example of BB.
Right.
We are up to BBA. So yeah, that's the one we're on now, BBA.
BBA.
Mhm.
Powers and duties.
Yes. So this is Lowell with additional MASC language regarding personnel and a cross-reference update. We, in our model policy, included the personnel section here because when we talk to you about roles and responsibilities, we talk to you about how you have one employee and then you have advise and consent on the hiring of a handful of other positions. We've added that into this policy because it's best to put that forward leaning. There can be a lot of confusion if you're not a school committee member about who it is you are actually in charge of.
Right.
So putting it in this policy makes it very clear, public facing, that this is how you are, this is how you interact with personnel matters.
Okay.
So, yep. There's a
Any
question.
questions about this? Okay, keep going.
Wait, no, there's a question.
Oh, sorry.
In the second paragraph here,
Mhm.
it lists positions that I'm not sure we have.
Not every district has a supervisor of attendance. Sometimes it's called a truancy officer. But not every district has it.
And I'm also seeing school physician.
Every district has a
We
school
have a school
physician.
physician.
At the high school,
Okay,
physician, doctor.
Yep, every district has a doctor who is their supervisory doctor, and every district has the head nurse. So,
so then there's a question of the truancy officer.
yes, the question would be, do you have this? So I'm gonna. highlight
Or
that.
what is the title? Because I think we have somebody after.
Mhm.
But the other,
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes
other
in smaller
titles are
districts, it's, yeah.
you know, just say
There's a doc-
assistant,
that if you got
associate,
hurt,
deputy, anything with
they
the
make you go
superintendent
see-
in it.
Yep.
Is part of that advising.
Is the
Okay,
doctor for sports, is that the doctor for the
I don't think so.
school department, or is it separate?
The doctor for sports usually just gets a PTE, a contract for X amount of dollars to, give kids physicals. But the city doctor, which is on the city side, if you have to go through a lot of time for workman's compensation or something, that goes, yeah.
Okay.
Think about the district physician, the way you think about district legal counsel. They are there to provide counsel to the district on medical matters.
I think it's usually somebody from Lowell Community Health Center,
Mhm.
honestly.
so will you check on the titles? Great, all right, thank you. All right,
Okay,
BBAA.
so this one is school committee member authority. This is Lowell with MASC updates. We have eliminated the phrase towns public schools from your from your policy. You're not a town. I don't know why you had that.
What did you eliminate?
Number 3,
You see it in red.
towns public schools.
Oh,
Yes, we've just clarified that to just be district. We have added, all in number 6, we've changed it from the students to all students, and then the rest is grammatical updates. Those are the only changes to this one. Beyond that, yours matches ours.
Okay. That's good.
Okay, so BBBA slash BBBB. This is school committee member qualifications slash oath of office. So this is Lowell, but we've added the updated open meeting law and conflicts of interest law training requirements.
Mhm.
So now we are all required to do the online ethics training within 30 days, et cetera. So that is what the majority of that addition is. It also says that you are required to provide new members with a copy of the open meeting laws so that as soon as they are sworn in, they have them. That's the only changes here. Everything else is the same.
Good.
Who's responsible for tracking this? Is this individuals?
The conflict of interest law, that would be your city clerk. So your city clerk would know whether or not, and actually it might even be the district, the administrative assistant to the superintendent would probably also find out from the city clerk. But when you take the conflict of interest training online now, it automatically reports to your city or town. So you don't have to print out that little certificate anymore.
Forever, or is it always gonna be?
From here on out, it's supposed to be automatically sent to them, and from here on out, you're supposed to take it every 2 years.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. So we're skipping our version of that. BBBC, which is school committee member resignation. This was grammatical changes only. Oh, and I missed one. Sorry. Live editing.
I see the first one,
Yes.
who submits his or her resignation. You want to say their resignation.
Yep, I missed those two. That's why we do this together, so you can catch everything.
Terminates their duties.
There we go.
The time of their resignation. Wow, there's 3 of them.
I know, right? How did I do that? Okay, the upshot is though that this is your policy just with grammatical updates. So next up is BBBE. So this is yours, and I flagged this for discussion. This is the unexpired term fulfillment. So if someone vacates their seat, this is the process by which you would put someone into the seat to complete that term. It is very specific to cities and towns, how they do that. In towns, it's usually the school committee and the select board and they appoint, but there's some language in here that I want to make sure is actually what's going on. Is there a list of eligible candidates established by the Lowell Election Commission?
We can get one. We put an ad out in the little sun. And see who
Okay.
applies.
Okay,
Well, just Dr. Hall wanted to know if you want to refer this to the solicitor for review as well.
so I will say it's probably a good idea to check this against your city charter because city and town charters are what dictate how unfulfilled terms. I personally did this. I filled someone's unexpired term. They left to go to the select board. I did 1 year, and then an election. And it was a joint appointment. So I would say, and that was what my town charter said.
Right.
So I would say this is something, yes, run it by your,
I think we're a little confused.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
we,
It's a
As
touchy
ci-
issue.
As a city, we're a little confused.
because, well, I think we have done it by the council and the school. I mean, I know for the vocational school, they had a seat
Mhm.
open and we
That
did it
was-
by a vote.
But that was, that was.
And then we
There
had a
was some
seat,
confusion when.
didn't they recently appoint somebody for
there was
council
confusion.
lady's
Yeah.
position?
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
was just the council. Nobody else was
And,
involved.
but there's something.
But that's-
Is it the
yeah.
home base rule? Like, there's a question of
Yeah.
how that,
Right,
comes into play, and I'm not 100%, and it may even be the home run rule, but not the home base.
Okay, so basically, we want to send it
Yeah,
to
we
the law
wanna check,
department
yeah,
and see what they come up
Well, there
with.
should be a consistency between the two
Yes,
bodies.
I think so.
I think so.
Okay, so legal.
Send it to legal.
absolutely.
So there was a list like that.
You know, and that one with Counselor Leahy, there was an election coming up. Wasn't there?
No, well,
It
we wanted a special,
Well,
They
there
did
was
put
a-
an ad out in the little
The
sign, because they
presidential,
don't wanna run.
but the presidential election was happening in November.
But they were able to, because they got majority vote on the city council,
maybe,
they were able to appoint Councilor Belanger. And I don't know how that relates, but then I remember seeing a ton of people
Who had a 5?
who
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
do it.
that was pushed aside, so anyways, there's some work to be done.
We're on
Okay,
the same page.
so this is your next one. This is Lowell, and the only thing we've done here is we've changed the Neppen coding. It was coded BBAB when we got it. It's actually, our office says it should be BBBG. School committee elections, do they still take place on the Tuesday following the first Monday of November?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're good. We don't need to do that then. We don't need to do anything with that. Okay, BCA, this is yours and ours. This is the school committee member ethics. As put out by the MASC. The only thing we've done here is, and I just noticed I missed a bunch. What on earth is wrong with me? I will go back and check the grammatical updates, because clearly I've missed a couple in this one too. But we've updated, there are grammatical updates in this one, making sure we say students instead of just children, because I'm going to 22. Beyond that, there's no changes. This is our code of ethics that you have adopted.
Okay, so other than the grammatical, we're good with that.
Yes. Okay,
Why don't we just finish the last BC one?
okay,
Because we are at 7:30 and I want to be
Yes.
respectful of people's time.
That's a good idea.
Now you're like,
My 12-year-old will be happy.
okay, so that we're at the final one of the evening and that's a good stopping point, right?
yes, it is. So this is BCA-E. This is the code of ethics for school board members that is a Lowell only policy. So MASC has our code of ethics, which you have adopted, but then you also have a Lowell code of ethics. There isn't a lot of disagreement between the two, but this is very Lowell specific. We should discuss whether or not you want to keep this in the manual or whether or not you would want to turn this into operating protocols along the lines of what we were talking about earlier. It's absolutely appropriate if you wish to keep it in the manual. I will note though that it was adopted prior to 1978. So it's older than me.
I like it though. I like
Yes.
everything that it says.
It's entirely appropriate for you to retain it.
BCA-E.
Yes.
It's our own code of ethics in addition to the one.
Mhm.
It says we're gonna make decisions in the best interest of our students. We're gonna make decisions after full discussions at public meetings.
Mhm.
We're gonna support employing people best qualified to serve as school staff. It's everything I believe in.
We should get a punch card for it.
There's no reason not to retain it. I would say in the event that you do update operating protocols and things like that, take another look at it, but there's no reason not to retain it if you want to.
Okay, so you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
So what, we're not gonna take a vote on B yet, right?
Right.
Correct.
Because we're ending at BCA-E. Okay? And we
start
are,
next time at school committee organization.
yes, the next one will be school committee organization, BDA. So keep track of that, and, do we want to review the next meeting, just to make sure it still works for everybody? We said, we left the flexibility of having it at 6 if we have another subcommittee scheduled the same night. And then as Ms. Phillips kindly followed up with us all, that we didn't have another committee, so that enabled me to not have to leave work early. I appreciate that. But I was able to get here in good time, but you never know. I mean, I was here by 6:15, but if we had started at 6, it would have been stressful because I would have made you all wait, so.
I think
appreciate that
Connie had
flexibility.
decided that you were gonna do it on March 25th.
So we already have a date, you think, March
I
25th, is
can
that
go
what
check
you?
my office, but I think
Yeah.
that's where you left it. Yeah. I can go run in my office.
Yes, that's a wonderful Tuesday evening.
That's why I think you chose it. You know what I mean? I think you and Connie had discussed it.
Yes, I'm trying to be more efficient, not be out too many times if we can avoid it. So March 25th works for you, both?
Yeah.
And Alicia?
So far,
We're
so
good.
good, yep.
So that would be, now I don't know if she wants curriculum to go at 6 or we go at 6. I feel like,
All right,
We-
that's what it is, curriculum. So curriculum would be first and then.
well, I'm thinking we are pretty timely because we know we'll stop right at time.
Yeah, ooh, we should be first.
You wanna go first?
Yeah.
And I think last time the curriculum went first, so if you're
Yeah.
comfortable, we can say 6 o'clock for policy?
Yes.
Does that work for everybody? And ask Ms. Martin to do 7. Then if she needed a little more time, we know we're gonna stop right on time.
Yeah, I like that.
Sounds good,
Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
absolutely.
You
Motion.
need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Conway, second by Ms. Del Rossi. All in favor? Oh, we have to vote on it?
Chairperson Doherty,
Yes.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Absolutely.
3 yeas.